Hey everyone, Colin once again, and welcome back to the next movie review for the Steven Seagal direct-to-video movies. And this time it is for the 2006 one, Mercenary for Justice. Now, this is not a good movie at all. I still think it still sucks. But the thing is, though, it's still bad. I'm not going to give this a pass at all. But at least I could kind of say maybe, I don't know, just a tad. Like this much, if you can see that. Kind of better than some of the previous ones, but they ain't saying much. I still it still sucks, still. But the thing is, I'm not going to, this was not a big old rave like on a big rant like I've done the previous one, but still not a good movie. But anyway, yeah, Mercenary for Justice, 2006, and it's directed by the same guy, Donnie Flamboyer. I forget the guy's last name. This is the same guy who did Today You Die. Now that I ranted on big time. Today You Die. Same guy who did that. Maybe because of maybe this smidge is better because the guy didn't use no footage from in Today You Die. He used footage from, he stole footage from Top of the World with Peter Weller, a little bit from Undisputed with Wesley Snipes, and then what was the one from that we first saw in the beginning? I freaking forgot now. Jeez. I just completely blanked out now. What was the first thing where they stole from? But you can check my mega rant on that though. But yeah, it was before the footage for Top of the World. But yeah, and at least he didn't take no footage from any movies and put in this movie. Yeah, but once again, Steven Seagal. Now, why is it every single time? This is becoming like a running gag now because every single film he's done, there's always problems, right? Sorry, forgive me, I'm just a little wheezier here. But there's always problems on behind the scenes, There was always a lawsuit or something. For the past few ones, there's always been some kind of problem with Steven Seagal. It's like a running joke, Every single film, or the past few ones I did, there's always been either he's not showing up late, or he's being lazy, or just fighting with everybody, It's like this is like the third time where there's always something, because I know No Time to Die, and then Black Dawn, and then one beforehand, I think. So, and filming took here's the thing. Filming took 28 days. The director said that the story was confusing, which it is. Which thing is it's confusing, yeah, because there's a lot of things I didn't fully understand what was going on in this movie. So that's true. Because there were 4 writers on the film, and the things were left over from draft to draft, And then we'll see this FauntLeRoy claimed the producers just hated Steven, and their whole existence was to destroy the film, staff, personnel, and the film. The director hated Seagal, which I don't blame him because he's just he's always fighting with freaking everybody. And then there was a lawsuit. So that FauntLeRoy claimed the day he arrived on the film, the producers showed me a lawsuit that had already been prepared that was ready to file if Steven gave them any problems. New Image Inc. and Killmaster Productions sued Seagal for $14 million, claiming the actor caused production delays and on set of Mercenary, and a second film, Today You Die, which, like I said, by routinely arriving late on set, rewriting the script, and allowing members of his entourage to interfere with the work of the crew members. The lawsuit was settled out of court. Of course, so there is also a little more of a read on trivia here. This film, Today You Die, led to a huge falling out between the star Steven Seagal and the producer Avi Lerner. Lerner alleged that Seagal was constantly late on set and kept changing his dialogue, while Seagal claimed that he was not paid $835,000 of the agreed fee in his contract, stating that he was allowed to rewrite his dialogue. The case went to court, and where Lerner countersued Seagal for $14 million, and like I said, claiming breach of contract, which Seagal said that was a blatant smokescreen to take attention away from the fact that he wasn't paid. That he didn't pay me properly in the first place. And then the court was settled. Of course, several years later, Lerner would produce the Expendables film franchise, which I gotta say, as much as I like the first Expendables, but as much as I don't like the number 2 and 3, though, I can still easily watch them over any of these direct-to-video Seagal films. As much as I don't like Expendables 3 or 2, though, but I can still watch them over any of these Seagal movies. But I still enjoy the first Expendables, though. Anyway, carrying on. Whilst casting one of the sequels, star Sylvester Stallone contacted Seagal is asking if he'd be interested in playing a role. Seagal replied that whilst he had no problems working with Stallone or any of the actors, his anger towards Lerner still resonated and did not want to be a part of the project with Lerner's involvement. So basically, since he did not working with Ivan Lerner, and since he was producing on the Expendables movies, he could have had a part in playing in the Expendables. Maybe he could have played a villain. I don't know, because I heard something a while back though that Steven Seagal could have played a villain though during that time period of the Expendables movies. But since Lerner was involved in those projects, Seagal still hated him, so that's why he did not go to be a part of the Expendables movies. Well, though part of me say, hey, I would like to see Seagal, because they're getting all these big action stars in those series, you know. I was wondering, you know, back then, you know, like, where's Seagal? Like, he's a big action star, right? Well, because now you learn, because producer Ivan Lerner, he did not like that producer, so that's why he didn't want to be a part of that series. See, that's what I mean. Seagal always has freaking beef with everybody. He always does, you know. It's just, like I said, he's always late on everything, you know, and just like... Man, this guy, you know... It's just like, I know I keep on repeating the same thing, but it's just like... I know he was a difficult guy to work on, even back during the making of his Golden movies, though. But it's far worse now, how he is now. I mean, like I said, it's a great shame because, like I said, from Above the Law, Out for Justice, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, Under Siege 1 and 2, The Glimmer Man, On Deadly Ground, Fire Down Below, even Exit Wounds, like I said. I keep mentioning those ones because those are films those are what Seagal was, you know. This sucks big time, you know. But anyway, getting back into the story. Getting back to with the film now. As among other cast members, there's no other ones that I know of except for one actor who's a bad guy in this, and that is of Luke Goss. If you know, he was the bad guy, the bad guy in Blade 2. He was the vampire that was experimented, and he was, you know, that don't believe that Blade defeats though, but because he would later work with Guillermo del Toro again in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Was he a prince? He was Prince Nuada. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, that was the name, Prince Nuada. And Luke Goss was the bad guy in that, and which I liked him in both those movies as the villain. Here, Luke Goss, he was all right. He was a bad guy, which I don't think he doesn't die though, because he has a fight with Seagal, but he beats him up though. But he doesn't kill him. He doesn't kill Luke Goss. He just gets arrested. But there's this other bad guy with this other British accent, you know, and which you know is how sometimes how bad the movie is when you can't freaking spell properly. Like with there was the guy who was the not Luke Goss's character, but the bad guy, because Luke Goss is a CIA dirty deedsman, and this guy, this villain, he's a black ops organizer. But thing is though, when you see in the movie, they spell black ops with a double P. Yeah, they spell it OPPS, and I'm like, so you have all these writers who, 4 writers, I would say. I think it was for, I don't know how many writers. Whoever was doing this, you know, they don't know how to freaking spell Black Ops properly. Well, the word ops, I mean. Ask yourself, you ever played Call of Duty Black Ops? The word ops, how's that spelled? It's not with a double P. It's 1P. OPS. It just kills me sometimes with these movies, you know. It's just like, okay, now we got from how bad these movies are until one point where you can't even spell the word ops properly. Double P, jeez. Can't even freaking spell properly, jeez. But and then Steven Seagal, he's a mercenary, and they were hired by these guys to in this place in South Africa. I think it's about getting like I said, the movie is confusing. This movie was almost as confusing as what I saw in The Foreigner. Because The Foreigner, I had no idea what was going on. This was almost as confusing as that movie was. But I think it was dealing because they want to hire Seagal because in the South Africa there was like this place where there's a place where there's diamonds and there's oil. So. And later, I think that they get I think a guy who was working under Seagal gets killed, and then the guy has a family, a wife and daughter, and there's a guy I think there was another guy who was with Seagal. His friend his name is Radio, by the way, Radio. Which reminds me of the movie Radio with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ed Harris, where Cuba Gooding Jr. his name was Radio, but the thing is though, the guy, it was based on a true story though, if it was though, because Cuba Gooding Jr. his name was Radio, but that wasn't his name. But which I rather watch Radio because I like both those actors. I like Ed Harris and Cuba Gooding Jr. But that's more of that's a drama though. But here, like, this guy's name's Radio, and then he gets killed though. He's like communications because he's communications. His name is Radio, right? But he gets killed, and then when Seagal goes back, right, and because it was the guy's radio. It was his wife and daughter. That's what it was. His friend got killed. And then eventually, the wife and daughter, they get kidnapped by the bad guys. Maybe I could say one thing I would say, but at least they don't use stock footage from other movies though in this one. At least wasn't too many stunt doubles for Seagal. Like the previous one, Black Dawn, sequel to The Foreigner. Seagal didn't do any fights himself. Did not do any fights at all in that movie. It was nothing but his stunt doubles. He did not do no fights at all in that movie. And it's like so obvious stunt doubles. He was thinner. The stunt double was thinner, and even sometimes even changed different hairstyle. You know. But at least there wasn't that too many stunt doubles in this movie. Although, like towards the end, you know, we that bad dubbing pops up again, you know. At the end of the movie, though, like how he said he wants to give his friend a proper burial, right? So you get some bad dubbing there. So, and and then with Steven Seagal, like he does a couple of fights, like I said, a couple of karate chop and flips and stuff. And what else is it going to? I mean, like I said, a lot of times, I mean, something has to do with diamonds and wool, but there was other parts I thought was confusing, like I said. And then ultimately, one thing, I guess it has to do with this this bank job. There was a bank job, which I'm like, where this thing of a bank came from, right? And because Steven Seagal is also with this woman as well. He's also with this woman who also is helping him. And the funny thing is, they go to this bank. There's like a couple of guards that are like just standing there guarding. I couldn't tell if they were bad guys or weren't they, but they shot him anyway. I'm like, were those guys really bad guys? I mean, I couldn't even tell. I mean, they were just standing there, just guarding money. You know, I mean, if there weren't bad guys, basically they just killed two innocent people, just doing their job. I'm like, is this like another sequel to The Foreigner and Black Dawn? And this is the Steven Seagal's character is just a different name. I'm like, both The Foreigner and Black Dawn. I mean, the guy Jonathan Cole was the character's name. I mean, first Foreigner, he got innocent people killed, and Black Dawn, he just tossed an innocent guy who's in his vehicle, right, gets killed, and Steven Seagal just tosses his dead body out on a hood of a car windshield. I'm like, that was an innocent victim. He just throws him out like it was nothing, like garbage. I'm like, jeez, this Steven Seagal was a villain in those movies, and he, you know. But if that's the case, if these guys weren't bad guys, if they were actually innocent people, then Steven Seagal once again is a murderer. I'm like, god damn, man. I'm just saying though, because I couldn't tell if they were bad guys or were. They're just standing there, just doing their job. But I don't know this whole bank thing came from, but let's back it up here a bit. See, that's why I'm not fully ranting and like so enraged, you know, because I'm like, it's just like I'm like, this is not a good movie at all, though. But does this make me go like, So this is not a full-on rant. Because when I do rant, I always capitalize the word rant in capital letters. But if it's like a small rant, I just lowercase the rest of the words of the word rant. This is just like capital R, lowercase A and T. Not in big bold letters, because that'd be a full-on rant. So I'm like, this is not good, though. I'm like, and then what else? And then then eventually with Luke Goss, like he gets in a fight with Luke Goss, beats him up, but he doesn't kill him. Like I said, he just gets arrested. And then where he goes to this lighthouse, where supposedly where the bad guy and the mother and daughter are, and then we get this random dialogue where the guy who's sounding British, I mean, it's like can you say your last words, like your final goodbye, whatever he said, and then Steven Seagal says, "I just prefer apples." I'm like, what kind of a line is that? If the bad guy saying "say your final goodbye," you can say, "I prefer apples." I'm like, what? That's like such a random line you say. If you're saying final goodbye, you might as well go out and say, "I'm gonna kick your ass" or something. You know, you're gonna die by saying that. You know, but like for apples, really, it's like me saying, it's like, okay, you're gonna die. Any last words? And then if I were a spot, I would say, "Hey, you like movies?" Jeez. That'd be just as confusing as what I just heard, you know? I'm like, what kind of a line is that? But anyway, yeah, but, I mean, and then but they're not at the lighthouse, the mother and daughter are. they're not the lighthouse, but they go. They're at this other house, and like Steven Seagal gets one bad guy. He gets like takes a knife and then slits a guy's throat, and also a little bit confusing before I get anything else. But like there was there was some people like they're working with Seagal, or you think they're working with the villain, and no one's actually double crossed. They're actually working with on the good guy side with Seagal, and I'm like it's like being trying to be confusing. Like, oh, you think this person is working with that person? Oh, is it a villain or not a villain? You know, and also out of the blues, like this guy named Bulldog comes in to be on Seagal's side helping. And I'm like, where did this guy come from? And we saw him, he was like in a bathroom and doing something, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's just on Steven Seagal's side helping him out. I'm like, where did this guy come from? Don't know anything about this guy. Where did he come from? Who was this guy? I know we saw him earlier though, but I'm thinking, but it doesn't mean like, oh, he's just like, okay, he's on Seagal's side now. And like I said, people were like, "Oh, is he working with the villain, or is she working with this, or is he on the?" I'm like, whatever. Like I said, confused. Like I said, this movie a lot of times it is confusing, like it was as a foreigner. So, and the ending wasn't much either. I'm like I said, it was just so confusing. Like I said, I'm like, and I don't care for any of these characters at all. I mean, they're just piles of nothing to me. Not even Seagal's character I don't care about. But yeah. Like I said. I think it's some bad dumbing, like I said. I mean, it wasn't... I mean, there wasn't any... I mean, it's been a couple of views where I haven't seen a bad a voice double for Seagal, but still, I mean, yeah, you do get some practical. I didn't mention, but right now, you do see some practical blood squibs. I'll give you that. There's some nice couple of decent explosions. I'll give it that though, and at least there wasn't too many Seagal stunt doubles. And there was no. This director did not use any stock footage that I've seen. So I guess that's a positive. I guess. But still, it's not a good movie at all. It's still not. It still sucks. That's why it's not a huge round, like I said, compared to all the other ones I did. Maybe I could technically say it's slightly better than the previous ones, but that isn't saying much. It's still bad acting. I mean, Luke Goss, like I said, I like him in Blade 2. I liked him in Hellboy 2. He's okay. He's there, but surprisingly, he doesn't die. Really, no. If he doesn't die, he just gets arrested. Okay. But like I said, the problems because it's like a running gag joke, like where all the problems with Seagal from behind the scenes. Like this has a behind the scenes featurette on this. Really enough. I mean, just like Seagal always showing up late, always was fine with everybody, As all the past ones, like from Today He Died, Black Dawn, like I said, he's always showing up late. Like Black Dawn, he didn't show up for like more than half of the days of shooting. I'm like, in that movie, can Seagal's stunt double be on the front cover of the DVD or the poster or whatever with the guy's name on it? Because Seagal didn't do any fights in that movie. Only stunt double did. He only did no fights whatsoever. Here, at least he did some fights of his own. Hardly. I didn't see a stunt double, like I said. Like I said, still, a lot of times the plot is confusing. Like I said, the whole thing with the bang, where this come from, and like what people like, you think you think they're a villain, or no, it's a double cross, or with the good guys, and who is who's on whose side, and where this guy Bulldog comes out of nowhere to be on Seagal's side, which I'm like, where you come from? You only saw him for like in a bathroom for like one scene. Like, oh, by the end you're a good guy now. You're on Seagal's side. I'm like, So yeah, I mean, mercenary of justice. I'm like, oh, and especially like I said before, when you're professional writers and you can't freaking spell the word ops properly with a double P instead of one P, man, I'm just. You can say you're just up shit creek without a paddle, you know. You can't even spell right in these old professional movies. You can say, jeez. If you can't even spell the word ops properly, like I said, you're up shit creek without a paddle. Go back to grammar school. Learn how to spell properly. Because when we say that way, you know, like you have to complain, like, oh, this, why there's a... Boy. Yeah, like I said, I got one more I could say. I'm just going on and on again. Bad writing, once again. Bad directing. Well, like I said, some decent explosions, decent, somewhat on subpar fights. But like I said, confusing plotline, you know, and just. Anyway, just check the film out for your. Whenever I do any of these reviews, I advise you to check any of these films out. But like I said, but I'm always warning you. You know what you're in for when you're watching these shitty Seagal direct-to-video movies. But like, if you do, good luck to you. Maybe you can understand them better than me. But yeah, that's Mercenary for Justice. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review, and we'll see you next time. Later.